Vienna in late autumn 1913 shimmered with unease beneath a coal-smoked sky, its gaslit streets tracing an Austro-Hungarian empire stretched taut over restless lands. A damp chill wove through the air, carrying whispers of Balkan grumbles, Serbian defiance, and German murmurs of might from coffee houses and newsboys' cries. Troop drills filled the papers, while elites muttered of Archduke Franz Ferdinand's latest strut, a spark in a powder keg few dared name. Tucked off a cobbled lane near the city's heart stood Viktor Klein's clock shop, a quiet haven behind fogged windows alive with brass gears. The sign Klein's Uhrenwerk creaked above, faded but proud, a mark of the life he'd carved amid the empire's groan. By 45, Victor stood wiry and silver-streaked, his hands steady despite a limp from a cart crushing his leg at 10, a twist of fate sparing him the soldier's march others now dreaded. 2 decades back, he'd built this shop with Marta, his wife, her warmth its pulse. She'd dust shelves as he worked, her laugh a melody against the clock's rhythm, until cholera stole her 10 years ago, leaving him with their echo alone. The shop became his fortress, walls lined with grandfathers tolling deep, cuckoos chirping sharp, pendulums slicing time into slivers. Trade hummed briskly now, Vienna's rich clutching heirlooms as war loomed, their voices tight with talk of Russia's saber rattling and alliances fraying like twine. Victor nodded in silence, his oil-stained apron a shield, his world honed to gears and rust. One dusk with gas lamps hissing, he locked up, breath fogging in the chill as the city's hum of trams, shouts, and a distant martial band trailed him to a stark garret 2 streets away. Sleep came slow, the day's echoes blending with ticks in his skull, a rhythm nursed through years alone. Dreams slipped in with Marta's face soft with laughter, then gears grinding, and a shadow over his bench cast by no flame. He jolted awake, sweat cold, the image a splinter, when an offbeat tick cut the dark. Fumbling to his coat by the door, he found a pocket watch he'd fixed that day. A Serbian noble's piece, etched with Cyrillic, its hands twitching wrong, a hum threading its chime. Dawn broke gray, miscloaking Vienna, and he shuffled to the shop, the watch under his arm, its tick gnawing at him. The lane buzzed with newsboys crying of troop trains, but he slipped inside, the clatter of clocks a bomb until he set the watch on his bench. Its gears gleamed too clean under the lamp, a gift from a Balkan lord the noble had said. Now dead, raving of betrayal in his final days. The tick skewed, the second hand lurching, and as he wound it, the air shifted with a shadow flickering on the wall, not his, mimicking his twist, winding nothing. He froze, breath short, the shop's chorus fading but for that hum, low and mournful, rising from nowhere. Tall and blurred, the silhouette bent where he stood still, its edges smudging into plaster. He blinked, willing at a trick of war's din, but it lingered, the hum buzzing in his teeth until it vanished, the watch ticking true again. Customers trickled in with a baroness muttering of Serbian ruin and a professor ranting of Berlin's might. But Victor worked in silence, the Serbian piece sidelined, its hum a faint taunt. Night fell with lanterns glowing and a patrol's boots thumping past, and he locked up late, limping home, the watch's pulse louder on his garret table. Testing it, he wound it again, and the shadow bloomed, stark and bending, shifting to a shelf to set a clock to 3 minutes past midnight, July 28, 1914. The date hung meaningless, months off, and the shadow faded, leaving him with a hollow laugh at war's noise twisting his solitude, perhaps Marta's ghost mocking him. Late November brought a chill seeping through the garret's walls, the city stirring with trams and defiance. But that date lingered, etched by the shadow's touch. He carried the watch back, its tick a burr, and inside the shop he pried it open, gears flawless yet locked on July 28th. Winding it, the hum swelled, a dirge threading the air, and the shadow flickered, nudging a grandfather clock to match with a silent prophecy. A boy banged the door, News clutched tight. Archduke's touring Bosnia, Klein. It's trouble. Victor waved him off, the hum a pulse now. The shadow grew bolder, shifting a pendulum midday, sinking ticks to that cursed July moment. He locked eyes with it, a silhouette bending where he stood still, pliers slipping as the hum thrummed louder, a growl he couldn't shake. Afternoon faded, gas lamps flaring, and he limped to the library near the Ringstrasse, its stone bulk looming through fog. The tinker who'd sold the watch, a gaunt Serb muttering of betrayal, had vanished weeks ago. But a brittle tome on Balkan nobles traced the clock to a Dragovich, dead in 12, lost to rants of time's treachery. The hum trailed him home, a pulse in his skull. Marta's laugh flickering before the shadow's weight crushed it. Night found him in the garret, the watch on the table, and as he wound it, the shadow carved August 4th, 1914, and Liege into the dust. The hum a wail weaving dreams of cannon smoke and grinding gears. Morning broke tense, a rally clogging Vienna's square with chants of "Down with Serbia," and he staggered to the shop, clocks askew, hands frozen at the shadow's dates. Customers pounded the door with a merchant cursing a dead grandfather clock and a girl whispering of hexes. But the shadow hovered, etching Verdun on a cuckoo for August 12th. Locking up early, he limped to a cafe, its air sour with tobacco, seeking quiet amid talk of Franz Joseph's frailty and Berlin's grip. The shadow followed, faint on the wall, stopping a patron's watch cold across the room. He stumbled home, the garret dark, the hum a roar, the shadow waiting by the clock's wreck, growling low. "Wind me, Klein, or they all stop," gesturing to Vienna's pulse of clocks, trams, and lives. December draped the city in looming snow, frost rimming the garret's glass as gaslight bled through in streaks. Victor stood over the wreckage, brass shards glinting, the hum pounding despite his hammer's work. The shadow stretched tall, arms bent, its voice echoing that chilling command. Sleep lost to dates of July 28th, August 4th with Liège, and August 12th with Verdun. Future scars pieced from whispers. The empire teetered, Franz Ferdinand's tour a spark nearing flame. Yet Victor's war raged here. Dawn slipped in gray, and he limped through mist, newsboys shouting of troop trains, the shop a crypt of stilled clocks, hands stuck, pendulums limp, the shadow's weight in his bones. A baron stormed in, his grandfather clock dead, blaming a curse, and Victor worked, the shadow nudging a cuckoo to August 4th, tools shaking in its hum. A lady followed, her mantelpiece silent, tales of him as a saboteur spreading, clocks failing citywide. The shadow-carved Tannenberg on the wall, ticks twisting into doom, and a crisp knock broke his spiral with a nervous-looking elite in furs, cane tapping, demanding 2 clocks fixed fast. His satchel spilled 2 letters, Russian and German, both sealed with a rabbit in red wax, strange and fleeting. The man snatched them back, muttering. But the rabbit lingered in Victor's mind with Marta's sketches of rabbits in old ledgers, her gentle hands tracing their ears, a memory the hum nearly swallowed. Night deepened, Vienna pulsing with banners and slurs of spies, and he labored on, the elite's clocks faltering, the shadow shifting a pendulum to Verdun's ghost. Facing it, voice breaking, he demanded, "What are you?" It grinned, rasping, "Time's traitor, Klein. Win me or shatter." He lunged, crushing the Serbian clock's last gear, but the shadow surged into his silhouette, age racing through him with hair whitening and skin sagging. Stumbling into the fogged lane, Vienna's clock stuttered silent, townsfolk glaring saboteur as war erupted months later, July 28th, 1914, Franz Ferdinand's blood-igniting empires, his shop frozen, blame pinned on him. Fleeing, the shadow fused with him, ticking wrong, days blurred as his body withered, time stolen. He reached the Danube's edge, water black under a starless sky, and sank to his knees, breath fading. A rabbit darted from the shadows, its eyes glinting red in the dark. Pausing to watch him with no note, just a presence. Marta's echo or the shadow's taunt? He couldn't tell. It lingered, still and silent, then vanished into the brush as the hum softened, his shadow stretching long and old across the bank, no longer his own. Vienna's ticks fell quiet. War's roar, a hum he'd fed, a civilian trapped by time's betrayal. He gazed into the river, the empire's fractures consuming him, and let silence take him. The shadow's weight, a final tick, stilled.